this portability of your content, that you own your thing, kind of resonate with crypto people. I guess decentralization thinking, hey, Markdown is designed to be portable with you, right? With your content. It is not just for real-time collaboration. It's really not just for your personal writing, but a way for you to collaborate on things using your favorite text editor.
Welcome to Web3 Galaxy Brain. My name is Nicholas. Each week, I sit down with some of the brightest people building Web3 to talk about what they're working on right now. My guest today is Jong-Kai Yang, co-founder of HackMD. HackMD is a multiplayer plain text editor on the web. People use HackMD to collaborate on text notes, share read-only documentation, and collect feedback from commenters. HackMD plays especially nicely with Markdown and other common markup languages, making the documents one produces in HackMD highly portable. On this episode, Jong-Kai explains the origins of HackMD and how people are using HackMD today. We learn how HackMD situates itself amidst other tools in the space, and Jong-Kai shares some lesser-known features hidden inside. It was great getting to know more about HackMD and the team that's building it. I hope you enjoy the show. As always, this show is provided as entertainment and does not constitute legal, financial, or tax advice or any form of endorsement or suggestion. Crypto has risks, and you alone are responsible for doing your research and making your own decisions. Jong-Kai, welcome to Web3 Galaxy Brain.
Hi, Nick. Happy to be here.
So how did HackMD get started in the first place?
Yeah, it was a side project by Max, which is the HackMD CTO co-founder. The side project started in 2016. We started seeing some traction there, and then about 2018, we decided to incorporate. And that's where it started.
Originally, was the product the kind of multiplayer text editor that it is today?
Yeah, it has always been a Markdown as a focus point. So basically, it started off like a Markdown collaborative editor that, you always had Google Doc, and then Evernote. You have a lot of other proprietary format of text editor. But then like adding this collaborative element to Markdown editor was something Max wanted to experiment on, and we just sorted it out.
Right. And you have a background as an investor, right?
No, so I was a financial analyst. I actually was a trader, and then became a financial analyst, and then eventually decided, hey, I wanted to really build something instead of like leaving comment, trading on things. Like to build something that's really, I didn't know what to build at first, so I kind of said, okay, so now I'm like way past college. How do I learn to build something now? And then obviously, internet came up when there's like software seems pretty relatively easy to get started. Like there's a lot of tutorial online, there's a lot of resources out there. You can pretty much self-taught yourself to learn to code. And then I kind of taught myself how to code and become a security engineer first at being hired, because it's always easier to get hired to see how this is pretty done and see like having this insight into bigger system out there, and then see how things are running. And and also it was a relatively easier time to find a job as a software developer back in 2012. Back in 2015. And then I started learning in 2012, and then basically find a job in 2015. Yeah, so that's kind of how it started.
And as a former analyst, what do you think the TAM is for something like HackMD? How many people do you think might eventually be interested in this product?
Yeah, we kind of talk about this, and I feel like it's really hard to think about it. So like it's probably somewhere between 100 million to a billion people. I guess the guess are really just like people who ever have like, doesn't have to be software developer to really write in Markdown. It's really just a text format. So a lot of people, for example, data science, researchers, even students of other subjects or teachers at school, like if they want to type something in, let's say LaTeX, they probably know like this sort of markup language. And so I would say somewhere between, I guess, probably less than a billion.
And yeah, I mean, Markdown is like a big part of the brand. It's right in the title. Do you think it's important that users know what Markdown is, or I suppose it's useful for other people as well?
Yeah, Markdown is really just a way for, it's just one flavor of a way to write things. So the gist of it is to write your format into your text content that makes it so readable. And then if your text editor is supported, can render it more beautifully. So the idea is like to try to port, because the format is also part of your content. Like if you look at those like titles and then bullet points, what have you, like bold, italics, those kind of things are really just part of your reading experience, and that should be portable in this open source format. So Markdown, I think to us, like we're not super. It wasn't that Markdown in its own that like make it super hype. It's more like that the idea of that this format of your text should be part of it, and it's open source, portable with you, portable across different platform devices, and hopefully across time. So like any of us, like we're a startup, right? So it's probably easy to say that. I guess it's fair to say that one day we'll perish in a way of history, but then your content shouldn't go down with us. If you say, people still remember using Evernote. I was a user of Evernote maybe 10 years ago. And then with this getting out of fashion, it became a pain in the ass to have to sort of get all your content out of it. I've never successfully done that. I mean, I still have my Evernote account. Sometimes I still go there to find out some of my old content there. So the same goes with your content stored in .docx, the Microsoft Office Word format. That today I guess a lot of people who's being hired, their company offer them the access to the Office Word. Those access, you don't feel that you're paying that. We call it Microsoft tax. But if you're hire yourself, I guess you're self-employed or work for yourself, like on your own project, and then you didn't pay your Microsoft tax, you find it hard to open those files.
Right. So basically, by choosing Markdown, you've chosen this plain text format that's not, maybe the proprietary formats are convenient because they don't expose the formatting text, stars, etc., to the user, but they're less portable.
Yeah. So there's the idea called what you see is what you get kind of editor. There are some good text editor, for example, Obsidian is doing it very well, that all your text is still Markdown, but it kind of formatted for you. We believe that is also a way to go. But back in 2016, 17, when we started HackMD, we didn't immediately go with that with Markdown itself is beautiful, and then I would like to use a text editor because Postmix and I were developers. So we just think this is something we built for ourselves, and then it kind of took off, and then a lot of developers also loved the idea. So we kind of so instead of making your editing experience a what you see is what you get kind of WYSIWYG experience, we actually allow you to switch the flavor of your text editor in HackMD. So there's a button to switch your Markdown editor in HackMD from either you want a Vim or Emacs. We actually support three basic things: so Vims, Emacs, and just plain text, kind of more like traditional coding text editor.
Do you think that makes it, to me, it makes HackMD seem more technically oriented, that you expose the Markdown directly. Do you think of your audience as people who are more technical, or over time, it doesn't matter?
I mean, right now, definitely. So I guess there's good and bad to it. The bad, obviously, is that it feels a little bit hard to approach for a lot of people who just get started or not familiar with Markdown at all. But I do think that Markdown in its own is really just a flavor of writing. It's really just plain text typing and then just adding a few things here and there, adding a pound here, adding this asterisk here. Those are not really hard to learn, but we definitely, like I said earlier, we put in the text editor there. I mean, the kind of like coding text editor there may be intimidating for some of our users for sure. But there's also good to it. The good is that the user up to HackMD are pretty like this. I feel like the good software. I'm sorry, this is not said by me. I'm just quoting someone else. Is like good software is like having a taste. Like you don't. Obviously, everybody has their own preference, right? So instead of trying to find put a thing for everyone, which is impossible, you might as well build something for people like you, and then you actually know what you like. You have your own taste, right? So the good part to it is that a lot of our users who use HackMD loves it, and almost 80% of our users are kind of more tech savvy people, and so we can keep our product relatively sleek, kind of look on the look of it. Look at it is pretty simple, but the powerful features being hidden. So like don't have to really, I guess, give you a very clean slate to work on. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, one other design decision in HackMD that's pretty different from other software that's out there is this sort of classic markdown style editing mode versus preview mode. Is that something that you feel committed to long term, given the technical audience, or is that something that's just a feature for now, but ultimately you could get to a modeless editor?
Yeah, we definitely still debating on this one. We'll keep it as is today, I guess for another couple, quarters, if not years. The idea is that right now it's becoming a little bit cumbersome because a lot of our users actually found that in addition to real-time collaboration on HackMD, this commenting system we added for more recently. The commenting system is more provide this feature of like asynchronous collaboration. So like people leaving comment there, discussion over over the content, specific text, and then you can also like suggest edit there, giving some text, suggesting some editing to replace that part. So this kind of like not like asynchronous editing becoming important for a lot of our users, and that two column view is actually squeezing out the space for commenting, right? So that is definitely one of the motivation we want to like switch to more like Obsidian, like just single column, and still typing in pure markdown, but as you type in, it will kind of render it in real time for you.
Are the comments currently? I haven't used the comments actually. Are they in the preview or the editing mode, or both?
They're both. You can just like select the text and then start using that. That is actually a very loved feature. So if you're working with other people, like pretty much every node or HackMD goes through this life cycle. Like started off from just a few jot down the idea, and then you probably just like develop the idea further, and then from paragraphs into like an essay. And that also moved from draft to the kind of internally basically with your friends, circulate within your friends to seek comment, and then eventually you kind of publish it as a white paper or and things like that. So that in the second stage of the drafting to the kind of internal circulated version of it, that commenting feature is very important. A lot of people use that. We see that people using commenting feature steadily grow, and then that people who use that tend to stick longer with this, because like it is not just for real-time collaboration. It's really not just for your personal writing, but a way for you to collaborate on things using your favorite text editor.
HackMD is really popular with crypto people. How did it gain traction amongst the Web3 audience initially?
Yeah, so I guess we can call ourselves lucky, I guess. Back in 2017, Ethereum Foundation came to us saying that, hey, they like using HackMD. Can they have some way to host HackMD on their own? That was before we even incorporated, right? So they're being one of our earliest customer. Definitely led us to think maybe we should have an entity to receive funding for that, revenue for that. So that's where we kind of incorporated and start selling this. The thing we call enterprise cost edition. Really, enterprise plan is just a standalone HackMD packaged into a Docker image, and then you can host it on your own. That is pretty much how we set up for Ethereum Foundation. And we're lucky in the sense that Ethereum Foundation starting users in the early days of, back in 2017, Ethereum is not totally new, but it's still in the very relatively smallest people who knows about it. Compared to today, 7 years later, Ethereum being one of the biggest and most active communities, decentralized community out there. So we're lucky to have been supporting the Ethereum Foundation since then. And we're also kind of lucky when we set out to decide to raise our angel fund in 2020. Vital himself actually invested in us as our angel investor very early on. So
Oh,
I
nice.
guess that's kind of how we become popular. But then I also there's one thing I want to, I guess probably if you're not being saying, is that this portability of your content, that you own your thing, kind of resonate with crypto people. I guess decentralization thinking, the thing today we call Web3 as opposed to Web2, like user owning their data as opposed to just generating for a big corporation, that kind of resonated with us that, hey, Markdown is designed to be portable with you, right, with your content. So I guess a lot of people, Web3 people, if they start thinking, hey, I want to have this thing that is not tied by any proprietary format out there, they start looking at Markdown, and they just say, hey, Markdown, collaboration, you find HackMD easily.
Right. I guess before HackMD, most people were using probably Google Docs and maybe to an extent Notion, which kind of emerged, I guess, around the same time.
Yeah.
So it is far superior if you're doing kind of technical work to be in HackMD over Google Docs, for example.
Yeah. I mean, so if you're doing Google Docs and then you want to save that Google Docs somewhere from there with you, like if you are a software developer like I am, and the version control system you trust is probably Git system or GitHub. So HackMD integrate with GitHub that allows you to push all your previous versions into. So you can push every version of HackMD, your HackMD nodes as a commit into GitHub entry, and then you can just push those commit into a branch on GitHub so that you can merge that into your GitHub version, during pre-R there. So HackMD we integrate well with technical workflows. So if you're a developer yourself, or if you are a protocol researcher, you probably wouldn't want your thing to be locked up inside your Google Drive. You want that to be easily shareable. People can trace the version history of it, see who contributed to which part in your version control history. So that's kind of, if you're people who care about your workflow, your productivity tool choice is probably going to be HackMD over Google Docs.
And what are the advantages of the self-hosted version that someone like Ethereum Foundation wanted?
Yeah, I mean, there's you can come to us. We also have the open source version on HackMD. Just go to our GitHub account and find it there. It's called CodeMD. And I have to say that the version, the affordance of the capability of the both version, the open source version versus our HackMD is going to be different. HackMD production service, we have a lot of more, for example, team plan, like Teams workspace that's book modes, so make it more easy to organize, and also easier to do collaboration with trusted circle.
And an enterprise might want the enterprise version because that way the private documents don't live on a shared cloud service, basically?
Yeah. So that enterprise plan is really just you host your own thing. We'll just provide you this thing, and then just start using that in your own internal settings.
And what other communities aside from crypto are big into HackMD these days? So
crypto people, crypto communities on HackMD, they are very active compared to, and also one of the fastest growing community on HackMD. But they are accounting for about 10 to 15% of our total user. So crypto, if you are inside crypto world, you probably see a lot of people, talk a lot with your folks who are in crypto. But the total population of crypto as a percentage of the total, I would say crypto developer as a percentage of total developers, it's probably not even 1 to 2%, I guess. So we have in addition to crypto community on HackMD, there's also a lot of software, traditional software developer, Web2 kind of front end, back end, data science people. There's also cybersecurity people, cryptography researcher as well. So cryptography, they're not cryptocurrency, but they're also kind of in crypto. But talking about a lot. So we are very good for people who write a lot of formula, scientific expression, pseudocodes. If you want to draw UML diagrams, those are you'll probably gravitate towards your HackMD.
You know, if there are people like inside Google, even for example, who find HackMD just preferable to the heaviness of something like Google Docs?
You mean employees inside Google?
Yeah, or in larger organizations that maybe have subscriptions to all this. It's not for lack of access to other fancy software, but just prefer the simplicity of HackMD.
Yeah, I mean, there was a project called AngularJS that is, I believe, some of their core developers work for Google, and they've been using HackMD for a while. There's also a lot of, like, for example, Rust. Rust is a language. It's not very familiar inside the crypto space, but the Rust language, there are also a lot of core developer, core team also using HackMD. Swift, the iOS coding, iOS app coding language, also use HackMD a lot. They also, like, Swift is also a open source community, but I believe a lot of their core devs are hired by Apple as well. So they also use HackMD.
So do you think of HackMD as being, does it fit at all into the no-code stack? Are people using it, integrating it with things like Airtable or Zapier, or is it in a completely different lane?
Yeah, so we do offer APIs, and the way that people use our API really just all sort of things. Our API is really simple, right? It allows you to basically CRUD all your nodes content, and then you can sync everything into your local, or maybe sync your local thing to HackMD, so that's turned it into a collaborative things. Or just another storage on HackMD. So those are basic usage. But if you're we will probably, as opposed to being Zapier, like, do it all, we don't provide really a whole lot of management kind of capability there. We're probably one of the tool that Zapier can incorporate into, but probably not as powerful as Zapier itself.
Of course. But how are people, do people use HackMD like a kind of simple database, or in other interesting ways? Are they using it programmatically with the API? How are people making use of it?
Yeah, so a lot of people use HackMD, especially API call for their kind of backup system. So, either backing up things from HackMD to their local storage, or the other way around. So that is really the majority of use case. We heard this use case from one of our lover fans. Right? So just have a user of HackMD talks about like how he used HackMD API call to dump his console log. So when he was doing this kind of pair coding with his colleague remotely today, who doesn't work remotely, right? So when he's doing that, he would just do a logging from his console, and then do a pipe into HackMD API call. Yeah, so share that HackMD link to his colleague, and so people can look into what's happening there. That is kind of like a pastebin tool. Some people, so it's kind of like a pastebin tool. So like that is something pretty cool, I would say. And a lot of people use HackMD for so this is how we draft so for example, if you and I were working on this kind of blog together, or maybe you have like a collaborative group, sort of like blog is a good example. You and I will be working on this HackMD note, and then together circulate within yourself, and then things we're done, we kind of just add it with the tag, and then RBI just constantly code it and refresh our blog. So kind of use like some sort of like publishing flows being handled down there, but then the drafting part is handled by HackMD.
Talking of dumping logs into HackMD and then maybe collaboratively assessing what's going on, does AI change the score for HackMD in any way? Do you imagine integrating AI tools, which I think a lot of people like me use it to use things like ChatGPT to analyze logs and quickly understand what's going on? Can you foresee something like that in HackMD?
We have definitely looked at the possibility of that. We don't see, I guess when we find some, I don't think it's a problem. It's more like when we find a powerful enough use case that this is going to add value to our user, we're going to add it to a user. But right now, as our thinking goes, is that you see, HackMD is for collaboration, right? And then when you're done, basically, even in collaboration on nodes, everyone write things for those things to be read by other people. Like, I don't believe there's anyone here writing things just so that it can be read by a machine. And then so you want people to read your stuff, react to it, give you feedback on that, or admire your ingenuity, right? So like basically you write things to gain feedback of the others. Like those feedback can be like direct feedback, text feedback could be like kind of emotional feedback. Oh, you're so smart, right? That kind of thing, right? So in this loop, we don't see, I mean, not directly AI being part of it. Yeah, but then again, when we see the opportunity there arise, we definitely think about it. I would say that even with AI today, you think like for example, chess, the board game chess, right? If you play chess yourself, you probably notice how chess like is becoming like the way you train for your chess. Like you play a game against another real person, and then you feed those PGN into your those per move data into your AI engine and tell you learn from that your own mistake or some other people's mistake, right? So AI becoming a teacher or as assistant in that human to human thing. I feel like maybe in the future we definitely looking to do some possibility there.
Mm-hmm. So the core functionality of HackMD, it sounds like you're not jumping on the bandwagon of any kind of AI features in order to, I don't know, do a new raise or something, but instead really serving your audience whose core interest is this kind of fast, simple, collaborative note-taking software.
I mean, at the end of the day, you and I as a human, we're probably only interested in human. I mean, even all those AI generated picture out there, right? People still generated a whole lot of things of other human, right? Even as an animation or other character, but all those characters, animations, or have some resemblance of human being. So definitely are interested in other humans. So I feel like that connection is a very core to HackMD because we're collaborative, and we care what other people think.
Do you think HackMD is being scraped for AI training? Have you noticed that in the logs?
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure it is being scraped by any other. The reason is that if you publish things on HackMD, we flip a bit of like in our assignment of saying, okay, this node is, if search engine isn't crowded there, just crowd it because people want it to be published, right? People want it to be found on search engine. And there's really not a whole lot of way to stop any crowder there. I mean, even a robust.txt, I'm not sure if you know what it works like. This is like a gentleman's agreement. If you have this robust.txt file in your website, it says like, okay, this is a gentleman's agreement between the site website host and the search engine or any crawler there. You see that robust.txt. If your crawler is saying that, you should honor whatever is saying that. You should not crowd something that's not allowed there, right? But yeah, a lot of AI agent doesn't give shit about it. Just, I'm gonna crowd.
Did you keep like is it actually, I don't know, on the published notes, can you see the view count in HackMD as the user?
Yes, and that's it's actually very important feature for our readers, for our writers. So you write things for people to read. You want to see how many people are actually reading those, right? So that is a very important feature for our users. A lot of our user cares about that number a lot.
Mm-hmm. Coming back to talking about sort of alternatives or things that are in a similar lane, potentially, do you imagine something like Jupyter Notebooks, like where there's code execution in the course of a text file? Is that something that you're interested in for HackMD in the future?
Even if we do, it's probably going to be something very limited within HackMD, but then that is really affording a lot of security vulnerability there, that essentially if you allow HackMD to run something for you, for anyone, and then anyone could just put any code there, this is a formula for disaster, I feel. We will be very cautious on that, for sure. That being said, the Jupyter Notebook folks behind that IPython Jupyter folks are using HackMD as well. I believe that we saw some of their public documents being passed around is using HackMD.
Oh, interesting. So they still have use case for something more stripped down for communicating.
I mean, Jupyter is more like it's a great tool, but it's for data science or specifically, right? HackMD is more like for ideas circulating. I guess there's just and also markdown. We support a lot of markdown syntax flavor that is not being supported in Jupyter.
I wanted to ask you about that. I remember there was some drama when GitHub created a fork, or I think maybe initially they didn't call it a fork; they just called it regular Markdown. But actually, it was different than the original Gruber version, and whoever else maybe worked on it at the time. Is there still drama in the Markdown world, or has the standard pretty much settled around the GitHub flavor?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no single entity there saying, okay, every Markdown should be look like this. The flavor GitHub flavor Markdown is generally based on the flavor called common marks. HackMD was based on common marks. We also extend a bit of it, but then we try to maintain to it. Just same with GitHub flavor of it. Like basically the core idea is that whatever so the plain text with the formatting size should be readable and easily understandable by the reader. Like even if you're just reading the plain text, you should see that okay, this part is being emphasized with 2 asterisks on front, 2 asterisks on back. This is emphasized, what we call it bold, right? And then if there's only 1 pound, this should be a H1 title. So that idea is that this should be easily processed by your brain. That okay, this you can just read through a plain text and understand the highlight of it, understand the structure of it. So GitHub extended that flavor a little bit. We incorporate that as well. So obviously, all of our use case is really to sync that with GitHub, and then so we also support what I supported. There's I guess there's no longer a drama, as you would say. Obviously, every time there's something new pushed into a standard or pushed into a product that is deviating from the standard, common mark standard, there's going to be people complaining about it. But then there's no malice, no malicious intent there, right? I mean, people adding this flavor so that it looks more beautiful, more useful for you as a user. And you don't have to use it if you don't like it. Nobody can force you to do it. But yeah, so as long as it's readable, as long as it's portable, you still have your ownership, full ownership over your own content.
Speaking of all the syntax that Markdown enables, I know HackMD also supports some interesting, maybe lesser known things like you can write sheet music. What are the other features that that HackMD has that people don't realize?
So sheet music. So you can just type in like almost like you can actually type like. I don't really write sheet myself. I mean, I'm not a really musician, but musicians usually can use HackMD. We support that feature as well. We also support some very basic data visualization. So you can really just put in like obviously it's gonna be, if you want to put in the huge data set, it's gonna take a lot of space on your node. But we just turn that into a data visualization of your choice. We're also obviously thinking, so the idea is, so kind of going back to Markdown idea, we kind of talked several times this chat already, that it's plain text, readable and understandable by a human. We just make it more beautiful, render it in a more beautiful way. So like, chess pigeon, that's something we're thinking because like, just a lot of people love chess and they'll play that a lot. So like maybe turn that into a thing. It's not supported yet, so don't hope on that. We haven't put that in there.
Okay.
So data visualization, sheet musics,
LaTeX too.
Yeah, we also support it.
Maybe people don't know.
Yeah, UML diagrams. Yeah.
Oh, UML diagrams. Okay, also, and LaTeX for the for mathematical formulas.
LaTeX for sure. Not just LaTeX, but other. There are 3 flavors of like scientific or everything. I just kind of blank out right now, but we wrote blogs about it, so you can definitely find out what HackMD supports. There's a whole lot of things supported there. Then again, these are not standard common marks, but it's plain text, portable. You write it in it, HackMD render it beautifully, and then one day the day will come. Eventually, HackMD will become history, but then you still have your history with you.
You mentioned Obsidian, and I haven't used it, but I think it's a little bit similar to Roam Research, right?
So Obsidian is more like a local, like so on your laptop is an app.
But similar in the sense of like a mind mapping, like I guess bidirectional linking notes, right?
Yes, and Obsidian also have that. We don't have bidirectional. We have like just one directional things within HackMD with also embedded nodes. So I think in the sense that HackMD is very different from these tools is that we build HackMD because we're a builder, right? So there's one thing we call the embedded node. So you can embed one node into another node and then just be rendered together. So you're saying, yeah, why would I do that? So, but if one of the nodes that's being embedded into a node is a CSS file that governs styles, that govern different things, and that so you can basically use your own CSS styling sheet. So you want all your nodes to look at that. This is your personal flavor or your markdown render. You like it, you can create this kind of style sheet inside HackMD node, and you can embed that node into any other nodes with a one-liner. So one-liner is being embedded. Every style will be applied to that embedding node. So yeah.
But not you see like a pretty big difference between the kind of collaborative note taking that HackMD specializes in and something like a personal knowledge database, I guess.
Oh yeah. Like personal knowledge. Going back to preference, so personal knowledge, I don't think there's a clear winner in that space. Roam Research being a good one. Obsidian also a very good one. It's more personalized. So sorry, but not personalized. Obsidian is like really just your personal software. Is you download the ones that lives in your laptop. There's no, it's local. Yeah. So Roam Research is more online. A lot of people also love, like we kind of mentioned earlier, Notion. There's all sort of things for personal knowledge management. Like I said earlier, I still have things in Evernote, which I seldom use today, but still there are things there, right? So, but HackMD really focus on collaboration. Like it's really for you to write things with your colleagues, with your friends, and then publish that on HackMD for your audience, your community. So like our slogan is build community with collaboration. That is, we want to help you build communities. And I believe this is very important for Web3 today. I guess for any technology project out there, you build technology for people to use, right? But then you have to, once you're starting having user and you starting having build around your technology, you have to incorporate their voice. You have to see what they really want, what they really need to use your tech to build things, right? So like you have to give them a voice somewhere, and that is normally done through either Twitter or Telegram or maybe Discord. There's a forum app, but these are all easily like Telegram is really just always constantly watching. Like in any Telegram group, more than let's say 4 or 5 people, it's really hard to go back to things you discussed earlier. And Twitter as well. Twitter and Telegram, these are not designed for serious discussion, whereas the Discourse, the forum Discourse, not the Chinese Discord, Discourse as a forum is definitely good for discussion, but then the context is always kind of hard to follow if you do that. How is that timeline scroll? So HackMD, that's why our commenting feature become more and more important to our user, that you can select a very specific text and expand your discussion over that text, determine between those tags and what is important there, and then try to fix that for everyone. So yeah, that is a very different use.
Yeah, this reminds me of a question we got from the audience from Samuel Huber on Farcaster, who asks, how do you think about article distribution? And I guess it sounds like almost HackMD is somewhere between something like a Discourse and a Substack, but it's mutable. With the commenting feature, it's about getting feedback. But from my perspective on HackMD, there's not really like unless you're in a team, there's not like a higher level perspective of all of the different notes that might belong to an organization, unless you're a part of a team or someone manually creates a separate HackMD that has links to all the child documents, which I guess some communities probably are doing. How do you think about people finding HackMD documents and participating in these communities?
Yeah, that's definitely a need we start seeing rising. We talk about collaboration, and initially we thought that collaboration is like people, like basically I know who you are, I collaborate with you. But now that there's more and more kind of open collaboration, there's more like cross-pollination. So like basically I have some idea, we collaborate as a group, has some ideas, some other people come from other groups, come with the best idea and actually make us both better, right? So we're definitely thinking, how can we make it more easy to discover each other's work, find each other, connecting with each other on HackMD. We don't want to, though, we don't want to scare our people work. So there's still HackMD still being like a note taking, kind of like a collaborative text editor thing. We don't want to scare our user with a bunch of like unsolicited bombardment of some arguments. Like, you want to focus on writing, we want to help you with that. But maybe at some point, down the line, we should add some sort of like, kind of like kind of like public speech kind of forum, like people can find each other somewhere. So yeah, that's definitely something we are looking into.
Mm-hmm. What's the most sophisticated ways that people are using HackMD?
So a lot of there are a few actually, maybe 10 to 15 conferences every year that use HackMD for collaborative note taking. So if you've ever been to a conference, you know that conference normally have like opening remarks, and then there's probably 2, 4, maybe 8 tracks on the same day. And for 4 tracks, you probably see that, okay, I want to go to this one, but I also want to go to that one. There's conflict of schedule. So a lot of conferences come to HackMD, and we help them with like creating this HackMD book mode. This is going to be a book of all those notes, each note for one session. So people can do collaborative note taking inside those notes for each section. So, for example, if you and I go to a conference together, we're both interested in these to talk. I go to one and start taking notes inside that note, and you can take notes on the other one. These are all contributed to the book that's being owned by the conference host. And so the seminar or conference kind of sponsorship we do with a lot of conference out there, so they can just spin up this HackMD book and then collection of all this talk note, and then people can start taking notes in those talks.
What does the book mode look like?
Yeah, it is really just a note, just a HackMD note that is collecting other notes together. Okay. And then when you do publish, so there's a share button on the right hand corner of HackMD, right top corner there, and then you click on there. There's a drop down menu. You select book mode, and then HackMD will render all those links into a book. A book is basically a collection. You think of like a documentation site, a kind of static site. So like you have on the left hand side, there's like a panel of like each note, and then you click there, that just leads you to notes.
Got it. We had a couple of other questions from sdv.eth on Farcaster, who wanted to know, what is the deal with the Arweave integration?
Yeah, so I guess this goes back to our promise, like you want our content to all live HackMD. You want you to be able to port your content with you. Like, we don't want to hold your node hostage. This is like we're a tool. If you use HackMD, you like using it, you pay for us, but then there's no, like, if you don't like us and we holding your node hostage, you're not gonna pay us more, you're just gonna hate us, right? So that's not the way we look at it. So in that promise, when decentralized storage become a really viable thing, instead of like just theoretically work, become a viable solution, is actually useful. We start looking at self-sourcing out there. We definitely look into Filecoins, IPFS, but then back then IPFS and Filecoins we're not so sure which one is going to outlive the other one. And then Arweave become a very promising options, and they're being very collaborative with us, or we say, hey, we want to integrate some sort of decentralized storage for HackMD. And then we would do a survey, we reach out to these people, and then they are we first the first one to say, yeah, let's do this. We can help you with that. That's a lot of hand holding there, and we share all the API. They do a lot of it with her, so they kind of build this together within. The promise is really to so that if you care about decentralized storage in your storing your content, ROV's option there. But then during our implementation of this ROV integration, we definitely thought about, hey, ROV is not the only storage out there. We made our implementation modular enough that we can incorporate with other storage as well. Well, that said, we haven't heard a whole lot of IPFS or Filecoin people come to us, hey, we want that. Okay, if you guys really want to HackMD, you can definitely talk about it. Yeah, should be doable.
Got it. So that's basically just for saving off an immutable version of a HackMD document to RWeave. You can do it from straight inside the interface. And do you have to pay for that process, or does HackMD cover the AR cost?
Right. So I think the first couple of months we integrated with RWeave agreed to pay for it, but then right now we have to pay for your own storage. It's really cheap. Depending on how much you're storing there, and it's also like it's not automatically stored because like you don't want your work in progress
every keystroke
being stored on the chain, right? Yeah, so you just so there's a really optional thing. You have to click it on. Okay, I'm gonna export to ROV. That's right.
Speaking of crypto integrations, I know you also have a sign in with Ethereum integration. What does that do? How does that work?
So right now, signing in with Ethereum is a way for you to sign into your account, and then that stops there pretty much there. So like you don't have to create a account. You just can use your wallet to sign in. That is our attempt to see if like we're definitely exploring maybe some sort of token gating out there. So like if you have signed in with your wallet, maybe going forward, we can just do token gating there. There's something we're exploring. We're also looking into integration with ENS. A lot of people use HackMD for the documentation. If it's integrated with ENS, like you have your own domain name, that's going to be useful for you as well. So those are the aspect. Token gating, ENS are the aspect we're looking into in the future. Signing with Ethereum, signing as wallet in general is really the first step toward it.
Yeah. How does HackMD make money?
Yeah, we're a subscription-based tool. So, and it's also a freemium model. So, like if you start using HackMD, sign is actually useful. You want to collaborate with more people, but in a private setting, our team plan is the most highest growing, our highest growing product offering. So that people working within a team group, kind of like pretty much like Notion or Google Docs, it's a seat-based monthly payment. You can obviously have a huge discount if you pay annually. Yeah, that's a subscription-based tool.
And what's the price point for that?
Yeah, so if you pay annually, the monthly cost is only $6, I believe.
Great. And how big is the team working on HackMD?
So we have 14 people right now. We plan to add maybe 2 more people this year, and I think that's all. We're pretty good size. We like it. We're actually a very efficient team, and we are obviously our backlogs are long. I'm thinking maybe when will we get to the features people wanted, but right now the team is working pretty well, so smooth, and I feel like we're about the right size. And
part of the team's in San Francisco, right?
Part of the team is on the West Coast, in the Bay Area. The other part of the team is in North Carolina on the East Coast, and there's a lot of teammates in Taiwan. Okay, great. I had one silly question for you, which is actually we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I don't know if you ever noticed that the bold, italics, strike through, and header spell bish in the toolbar. I wanted to know if you knew that, but you told me that you hadn't realized that. I never realized that. So like you said, those are just like so HackMD being a text editor is not very user friendly for people who never use this kind of text editor, right? So we put those kind of like visualized kind of WYSIWYG, just like quick selector on top of it, and you talk about then there's obviously bold, italic, strike through, and header. So these are most basic markdown elements, right? If you find anything online, try to say, how do I learn markdown or markdown tutorial, markdown 101? These are 4 things that people talk about. There's also number, bullet, and those intention, right? So we just put in. I never thought of it as a dish. Yeah, we should change that.
Maybe put header first.
Yeah, that's not intentional. You are probably, you're definitely the first one who ever talked to me about this thing. I was like, what are you talking about? I never thought about it.
Good.
Great catch.
So what do fans of HackMD have to look forward to for the rest of 2024? Is there any interesting things coming up that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so HackMD, we've been around since 2016. This year, we're looking to kind of just change the kind of providing some color scheme changing. So obviously dark mode, a lot of people asking for dark mode, and this is long overdue. So we're going to change that. We're also going to increase integration interaction ways for reader to interact with their author. We see that, like I said earlier, you kind of asked about like the viewership count. That number means a lot to our author. And so we do interview with our author. Why do you think it's important? And we then that our author actually value the interaction or feedbacks or comments left by their reader. They want to know how their reader think, right? So we're going to add more interaction there. Also, we want to build our book mode into more like a blog experience. So like we're adding this, like I said earlier, ENS integration, adding this book cover, we call it book cover, so that you can turn your book into a blog and then add a domain name to it, so it becomes like
nice, like a sort of, I guess not a static site, but like a blogging software based on Markdown. Like what are the popular? Gatsby. There's a few other ones.
Yeah, there are definitely a few of them out there, but like we don't really think of it as competition. More like our user wants that. Let's build this.
Or yes, I don't know. Actually, maybe Gatsby's not one of them. But this is definitely a popular application, and I think people would definitely love that feature. So that makes a lot of sense.
Substack?
Substack, but I mean more like the ones where you just save Markdown files and it sort of on the fly transforms them into HTML pages for every. I don't know if Vitalik's blog is maybe like that.
Maybe.
I forget what they're called. Anyway, that's great. Okay, so that's an exciting feature people can look forward to. And have you ever thought of doing anything like an email subscription to updates of a document or something like this, like bridging not only into the blog area, but also maybe into this newsletter domain?
Oh yeah, we already have that. So you can subscribe to our user, any user on HackMD, and then that subscription can be email. Obviously, email is turned off by default because we don't. But then again, we can maybe add email there so that make it more easy. A lot of people we don't want to be put into a spam folder, right? So
right.
You can actually subscribe to HackMD notes, and then any change made to that note will notify you. Mostly through in-app messaging, but then if you turn it on, you can also be turning into email. This is just going to be a whole lot. There's a lot of things if you subscribe to.
You get every change.
Those can be really you can do kind of daily digest, but it's still a lot.
Maybe it would be interesting to have a way for people to replace Substack with something like HackMD. Maybe this blogging feature eventually could do something like that. I know HackMD's got this very technical audience that are, I'm sure, super demanding and have all kinds of very specific things that they want. If they want to get in touch with the HackMD team, if they want some feature implemented, what's the most convincing way? What's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, send an email to support@hackmd.io. We see all those support there. Also follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn. We're HackMD.io there on HackMD.io on Twitter, on X.com. And then we respond very responsive there.
We got to get you on Farcaster next.
Okay.
Okay, great. Are there any subjects that we didn't cover that you think we should discuss before we call it?
No, I think this is a great discussion. HackMD, we try to build this community with other people for technology builders. So like if you are thinking to how do I build a community on HackMD can be helpful.
Awesome. Jong-Kai, thank you so much for sharing all this info. I'm sure people are going to be really excited to hear this interview with you.
Thank you, Nick. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Web3 Galaxy Brain. To keep up with everything Web3, follow me on Twitter @Nicholas with 4 leading N's. You can find links to the topics discussed on today's episode in the show notes. Podcast feed links are available at web3galaxybrain.com. Web3 Galaxy Brain airs live most Friday afternoons at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2200 UTC on Twitter Spaces. I look forward to seeing you there.